I didn't want to cut you out. Now you're live, Sonny.
You know what? You can't work with children or animals or go live sometimes, can you? Sunny TV Arsenal. Now we're live, which is a great new 5 minutes in chat. I built up my guests, but you know,
brilliant content was missed.
I know what they want to do. So now let's introduce our guests. Firstly, I want to introduce our Facebook group, which we're together with, which is the Arsenal Inside Out group, which is in Sierra Leone. Big up to all of you guys. I'd like to say hello to everyone in the comments. And now, take 2. But very important subject for me: Back Arteta or Kroenke Out. Especially with the news, Thomas Partey, Arsenal are saying they're not going to go back in for him. We're going to cover that subject a bit later as well. Introducing I Want My Arsenal Back, Shaheen, who was one of the main backers, along with the Kroenke Out group, in getting the plane off the ground with Back Arteta or Kroenke Out. Shaheen, introduce yourself, and we're going to come on to the topic shortly after I've introduced everyone else.
Yeah. Hi. Good evening, everyone. Basically, we're just setting up a movement called I Want My Arsenal Back. It concentrates on a few different aspects of the club. Nothing on the pitch at all. It's just off the field. I will go into details later on what we're trying to achieve, what is the aims and objectives of the movement, and how we're going on about achieving those targets. Thanks for having me on. You're the only person who actually invited me to find out about the movement and what we are about and why we got the plane out and why we got it out that day and so on. So thanks for having me.
I mean, it's perfect. I think the timing for you guys that put the plane out was absolutely perfect, and we're going to come on to the timing and why you chose to do it at this time as well. Also got another special guest with us. We haven't seen him for a very long time. We're pleased to invite him back into the family. And if you guys can please support me by supporting Levin by going and subscribe to his YouTube channel, which is starting up. It's going to be a different channel than most of the channels out there. And it's going to surprise a lot of people with the type of content. And Levin hopefully is going to be a regular on the channel again. Lavanger's Lounge. Go subscribe to Lavanger's Lounge. Levin, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, thanks, mate. I'm well. I'm happy to be back. Happy to be out of lockdown. And as you can see, no expense spared, as I said before. I'm just really interested to find out a bit about what Shaheen's doing as well. I've got a keen eye on that. But with regards to myself, I will be, as you rightly said, setting up my own channel. Got loads of different content from sports to various other subjects, as some of the guys here know. I've seen a few friendly faces. Sam, thanks for giving me a shout, mate. And yeah, so we'll go into that in a bit more detail later. But thanks for having me. I'm happy to be back and happy to be out of lockdown.
Where can people find you, Lev? And when are you going to unleash your channel onto the watching public?
Well, I'm considering doing it next. I'm thinking of doing it next week. We'll be setting up Mind Matters and Third Eye again. So I'm thinking about doing that potentially this weekend. Or next weekend is better, I think, with the FA Cup and all that. So I'll be looking at next week onwards. So I'll let everybody know. You can find me on YouTube on Lavanger's Lounge, or you can find me on Twitter at Lavanger.
Mind Matters, was that brilliant show you had with Alex for the mental health? Was it that?
Yes, yeah. I mean, we decided we wanted to, bring it to our own channel and have a bit more flexibility what we want to do with it. And different subject matters that might not be sort of relevant to football, should we say. But I also love my sports, so I'll be boxing and all sorts going on as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm a big Arsenal fan. But I'll talk about anything to do with football, to be honest with you. Any kind of football will do me. We're
going to be doing a lot together. I know you've also got that other conspiracy theory show you got.
Yep, Third Eye, yeah.
And that Third Eye, should Arsenal be having a third eye at this time, or is Stan Kroenke's 2 eyes enough for us at the moment? That's the question we're going to get into. Also want to invite another regular onto the channel, my uncle Melvin. Melvin, how are you?
Yeah, good evening. Fine, thanks. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to be listening tonight more than talking. I want to find out what this Raheem situation's all about.
It's not really my uncle. It's not my blood, but I've actually adopted Melvin. It's not the other way around.
That's another podcast.
After 9 o'clock. Yeah, no,
Yeah, after the watershed, that one.
Well, you know what it was. I was watching that wildlife program, and it was Dr. Polar Bear, and I trusted Dr. Polar Bear, and they sent me Melvin through the post.
Easy mistake to make.
Yeah, another great guest we've got with us, and we've got some fantastic plans for what we're going to do on Saturday for Cup Final Day, and that's David from Football Fan Focus. David, give the guys an insight onto your channel. Let us know where your backdrop is. That seems to be. That looks like some sleazy hotel
in the studio
in Hampstead somewhere. And there's a few dogs around up in here in the background.
That's a sleazy hotel for you, yeah.
tell the guys what we got planned for our day on Saturday.
Well, just to first of all cover, obviously, Football Fan Focus. We're basically a podcast and talk show dedicated to fans wanting to hear the latest news in football. Obviously, we have been on Sunny TV Arsenal for several streams before, so we don't need to cover too much into it. But let me cover what's happening this Saturday. Now, this Saturday, we've got a massive live stream and live watch along happening during the FA Cup final. I was about to say the World Cup final. I'm a bit too early for that. But FA Cup final, it's going to be between Arsenal and Chelsea, of course, as you all know. And we're going to be doing a live watch along and interviewing fans straight after the game and doing live fan cams straight after the game and uploading them onto YouTube on Sunny TV Arsenal and also Football Fan Focus. Please, if you are subscribed to either Sunny TV Arsenal or Football Fan Focus, make sure you keep tuned all the way through that watch along because we want to get massive numbers through. So make sure you do that. And yeah, it's going to be an awesome weekend. And yeah, big up the Gunners this weekend.
Steve Denham has said, been watching the Football Fan Focus channel today. Brilliant. Check out the Dice video. You also done
Thank you, Stephen.
You also done another great video on Bielsa as well.
Yeah.
Well worth checking out. Just hello to everyone in the chat. Hello to Ian Hutchinson. Always great to have you along. Michael Thomas. Kay Maturi. Kroenke Out. Big up. Stan Kroenke is saying Kroenke in.
Hi, Stan. How you doing, mate?
December saying, how you doing? Ian Hutchinson saying full house tonight. We're also expecting Lee Judges onto the stream a bit later on as well, guys.
Nice.
We've also got CJ Jackson. I really hope you do well, Ian, but I have a sinking feeling of deja vu. I hope it's not deja vu after what happened in Baku. One thing for sure is the fans not going to have as much trouble getting back because we're not going anywhere. The main person we need to speak to today is Shaheen. The whole content of this channel is Back Arteta or Kroenke Out. Or is there such thing as Back Arteta and Back Kroenke in the ball and we're all going to get to the same destination?
Right. Basically, I'm going to explain everything that it has been happening from the plane and from this movement and so on. So to start with, I just want to make this very clear that the plane was organized and it was booked by a page on Instagram called Kroenke Out with a 0. My attention was drawn to this when it was happening, and when I came across it, there was a fundraiser online, and I saw that they were short however much from the target that they needed to reach in order to get this going. And whatever the difference was, we donated, and I've been in communication with a guy behind the page since then. We've had really good conversations, and hopefully we'll do some more stuff together in future. So that to clarify that the credit needs to go to him, and we just helped him to get out there. Flying a plane over in London with a banner is very difficult. Very difficult. Over Wembley and a cup final is probably not a clever idea. Watford flying a plane with banner, very hard. So Aston Villa away was probably the last chance this plane could have gone up. And this needs to happen now. Last summer, everybody, including myself, we thought, let's wait, see how the transfer window unfolds, and then we'll have an opinion, or we disagree, or so and so. What we're doing this time, through this movement, we're just trying to, if you like, give the board and the owners a bit of a nudge that, listen, make sure you get it right. We don't want another scenario like last time. I'm going to go through the different things, and I've got some stuff written down here with an example. So bear with me. It might take a little bit, but I'd like to get through it.
The floor is yours, boys. The floor is yours, Shaheen.
Yeah. Thank you.
The whole point we're on the channel is today to find out why you guys flew the plane, the timing, why you've done the plane, the direction Arsenal are looking to go in, and are we off course, or was the plane off course?
Well, the plane was on course. I think Arsenal are, of course. Basically, there's three aspects that we're looking at in this movement: the board, the owner, and the fan base. And I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples on each party that we're looking at. We're not really looking at what happens on the pitch, team selection, who's played well, who's not. We just concentrate on other stuff that normally it doesn't get attention, because as a fan base, we're really divided on different topics that we don't normally we're engaged in. Ozil in, Ozil out, AFTV this, AFTV that, and that. So attention is not really brought on this focus. So Kroenkes, there's a lot on them. We're doing a lot of research, and Lev is helping me quite a lot. And hopefully soon there's going to be there's projects that we're doing that will come out and everybody can see. I'm just going through a little bit because I can't go through everything. It's just too much information and numbers and so on. So just a couple of examples. And Arsenal issued 260 million bonds in 2006 to be repaid in 2029. So as of 31st of May this year, the balance that was left on this was 170 million pounds, plus 40 pounds early payment penalty, which brings it up 210 million pounds. This 210 million pounds is the money that the Kroenkes paid to release 35 million pounds that was held in the reserve to help the club run. So they haven't actually paid. The club is not debt free. They've just refinanced an existing loan. So Arsenal now owns Kroenke. So what's the term of this loan? What interest rate are charging is not known at this present time until probably when the accounts come out and so on. So this is one of the things that I wanted to clarify. So because
Shaheen, there was also a £40 million penalty for redeeming this loan as well.
That's right. So including that, it comes to 210 million pounds, which was the whole thing that needed to be paid to clear that debt, release the 35 million reserve that we have in there, and we now owe Kroenke. So in the past, one of the reasons I can see why that in the past 5 years, we paid 61 million pounds just on interest. And we're just below Man United on that. Only Man United have paid more money than us when it's come to this. Another interesting with regards to KSC, which is obviously Stan Kroenke, they took a 500 million pound loan from Deutsche Bank to buy Osmanov when they bought him out. So this money is actually a loan. Now, one of the things that they've refinanced is actually the term of that loan. Another question that needs to be asked of the owners is, are Arsenal now paying 710 million pounds, or we're only paying the 210 million pounds? I would not be surprised if Arsenal are paying for that 500 million, because now there is no financial commitment from the club. Anything can go out. It can be paid for different things. They may spread the term of this loan a bit longer, like what they've done with LA Rams. So it will bring down the payments. But in a long run, probably Arsenal are worse off with this. And this motion of now they've done that, there's money to spend, and Arsenal can go and spend money, is just not right.
So just to clarify what you're saying is, after he bought 33, when he went in by the remaining 33% from Usmanov.
That's right.
Basically, what you're saying is Arsenal took out a further loan of £500,000.
No. KSC, Stan Kroenke. KSC is
well, I think KSC and Arsenal is exactly the same thing now.
Now it is. So
KSC have actually borrowed money.
Yes, to buy Osmanov out. So they actually didn't use money that they have, and I would not again be surprised if they used their shares in Arsenal as security to take out that loan to buy this guy out, and now they've got all of the club. So all of this is a bit of a unclear. No one knows what's happening. I don't expect them to come out and explain to fans what's going on, but this does not look good when you go into it in details. And I must stress out as well, if you want to look into these information yourselves, if you go on Twitter and search a profile, Swiss Rumble, he's got a lot more information than me in there with a lot more details and so on. So you can study this for yourself. These are our figures, numbers, facts that exist. So by all means, go have a look at that and give him a subscribe. He's really, really good. From 2002, as a business, Arsenal have always been making money. But somehow, every time it comes to January, especially recently, we're told we can only do loans. We don't have any money. Only in 2019 season, we made a loss of 32 million pre-tax. These are just a couple of things that we're working on to highlight things with regards to KSC. That why are you managing or running a club the way you are? Hello, Lee.
Good evening, sir.
How are we doing? All right?
How are you?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Sorry, I'm a bit late.
That's all right.
Lee, Shaheen is part of just to bring you up to speed. Shaheen is part of the group, as well as the Kroenke Out Twitter page. Helped fund the plane, which went up above Villa Park the other day. And he's just given us a rundown of why they flew the plane at that time and Arsenal's financial position as they understand it. Anything that you don't agree with, please interject and put us right or put us to how you understand it as well. If you just could run that down again, please, Shaheen.
Yeah, sure. I will just briefly explain for Lee that what's happening. So basically, Arsenal in 2006 issued 260 million of bonds, which was to help with the stadium and so on. So which was due to be paid off in 2029. 31st of May, if you recall, there was news came out that Kroenkes have settled the debt on the club and so on. So they released that 35 million reserve that was held. Which is not the case. They have actually refinanced an existing loan. So the balance 31st of May was 170 million pounds plus 40 million pounds early repayment charges, which comes to 210 million pounds. Now, we as a club owe this to Kroenkes now. The term of the loan, the interest rate they charge is not clear. No one knows. It could be above market, it could be below market, and we're not sure where the situation is on that. KSC took out 500 million pounds, a loan from Deutsche Bank to buy Alisher Osmanov from Arsenal. And this was due to be settled in about a year time as well. The question now that one of the questions to Kroenkes is, do we as a club owe 710 million pounds? Because now we're paying for your 500 million to buy Osmanov as well, or we're just paying for the 210 million pounds. So this idea that they've settled the club's debt, now they can put money, we have more money to spend and so on. So it doesn't really, that's not a true reflection of the picture. And since 2002, we've been making profit as a business, except in 2019, which we made a loss of 32 million pounds. So this is just brief, just on Kroenke, which one of the aspects we're looking at. The other one is the board. Now, there are certain things that, if we have to be fair, we can't blame Kroenkes. They've come in, they purchased the club. They put people in charge to run the club on day-to-day basis. And they have been getting a lot of things wrong and a very small things right. Bad transfers, players leaving for free, so and so, so and so. One of the things we're looking at is the board. Why Aaron Ramsey is working for free? Why the Alexis Sanchez deal? Why could you not have done that? Why then you gone out of desperation, handed £350,000 to Ozil, which you got a problem? Why we're in a position with Aubameyang that we are today? Emery was there. If you wanted to get rid of Emery, you should have got rid of him a lot earlier in the season. We probably would not be where we are today. Is that from me or?
What's up?
Are you guys hearing something, or is that just me?
We're getting the same feedback again.
Oh, okay.
All right. So they got rid of Emery, but then put Ljungberg in charge for a long time. Why? If you got rid of a manager, you should have somebody in place. If you don't, why leave it too late? And then you send in your business director, commercial director to the guy's house 12 o'clock at night, try to do the deal. I don't see any other clubs behaving this way. I don't see any clubs acting this way. I hate to say it. I hate to bring this up, but Daniel Levy got rid of Pochettino for whatever reason. 2 days later, there was a manager in charge. We don't act this way. I don't know why. The third thing is the divided fan base, which I'm going to leave Levanjo to go into that a bit later. And just so to give everybody a better picture, everyone says, we can sell players to generate funds. These are the list of players that are on the last year of the contract. So next year, the contract is run out. Aubameyang, Ozil, Sokratis, Luiz, Mustafi, Messi. The following year, Lacazette, Guendouzi, Kolasinac, Chambers, and Ketia Martinez. So there's Mustafi with a year left on his contract. How much can Arsenal fetch for him? You know, these are the questions that why it has come to this. We've gone and purchased a defender for £35 million out of probably desperation, and now we're stuck, and we're not going to regenerate much from him. So these are just a few examples of what we as a movement trying to look at and ask the question, why? You know, David Luiz, he's not an answer to an Arsenal defense. Today I can hear, I'm hearing Arsenal interested in Jack Grealish. I know Lee will probably be over the moon to hear that because I know he's a fan of Jack Grealish. But is it what we need right now? It's the same thing as last year. We're crying out for a defender, we go buy a winger. We're crying out for a defender, we'll buy an 18-year-old teenager and then we loan him back. The problems are not addressed. Why? Why they're not addressed? Nobody is being held accountable. When Kroenke took over, this is how I'm going to end it with. When Kroenke took over, Arsenal was beating Real Madrid away. Arsenal were beating AC Milan away. Arsenal were competing. Now, this season we'll finish 8th, Europa League. Now, if we lose to Chelsea on Sunday, it's not going to be in European football, which will mean less money for the club. And it with a combination of an unclear owners, not a decisive board, and a divided fan base, it does not look that great. I hope that they make me look silly. I hope they go sign a few world-class players, because at the end of the day, all we want them to do is make us compete again. That's it. If you want to stay in the club, stay at Arsenal, make money off of Arsenal. There's no problem with that. You bought this club, you're entitled to make money from it, all of that. But look after it. Look after us as fans, because we're paying a lot of money to go watch a team that is below average, and there's a lot of decisions that are unclear as to why. So this is the movement. This is what we're trying to do, and I hope that people will support us, because this is not negative. We're not telling Kroenke to go, just get out. We tell them, look, back the manager, invest, stay, make your own money as well, no problem. But if you're not going to do that, then you're in a difficult place with us, man. And that's the whole point of the movement.
Firstly, can you all hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Firstly, I want a big round of applause to everyone who's involved in this line of play movement. Big up Arsenal till we die. Arsenal till we die, right? Lee Judges, you've been known to be quite opinionated in your time.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know who said that. I think it was your missus, right? For me personally, I'm not bothered that Stan Kroenke borrowed the money to pay off Usmanov. I'm not bothered the fact that he's paid off this loan to get the £35 million which was being held for no reason, because the loan was underwritten by his wife, who is a multi-billionaire in her own right, Walmart, and also Kroenke has got an estimated worth of £8 billion. You know, the fact that he bought Arsenal and used bank's money in a time where interest rates are the lowest they've ever been, I've got no problem that he's actually borrowed the money to do it. What I have got a problem with is him not putting his own money in and making Arsenal great again. How do you feel about that, Lee?
Well, listen, you know, I ain't got a problem about him not putting his money in if the club are putting the money in and we're being successful. What the problem lies now is, this is how I see it, and I tried to relate it with the shirts the other day. As a fan, you know, we're going through a real bad time at the moment financially, yeah. And Arsenal are bringing out a new kit, right, yeah. And there's a lot of fans out there that are spending £80 to £100 on that shirt. Can they afford it? Some of them can't. But what they do is, because they want that shirt, they go out and spend the money, and they might give up something else along the line. You know what I mean? Like, it could be like, you know, not going on holiday or not taking their missus for a birthday meal. But what's more important is getting that Arsenal shirt. Now, so I relate that now is that we are desperate, like the fans, for some players, like a central defender, a central midfield player, and a Jack Grealish sort of type player. Now, it's what they're going to say, and what the club's saying is, oh, we can't afford that, we can't afford that. But on the other hand, they're expecting the fans that can't afford to sell a shirt, to buy a shirt, to still buy that shirt. It's got to work both ways. Now, if Arsenal can't afford a shirt, can't afford a player, then Kroenke should be saying, right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you the money for a centre half. I'll give you the money for a central midfield player, and I'll give you the money for Jack Grealish or whoever it might be. And when we get into the Champions League and we're starting earning money, I can take that money back out. And that's what I don't see a problem with that. But at this moment in time, you know, it's going to get to a stage where he ain't going to be making no money out of the club, because sooner or later we're going to be in a championship if he carries on like he is at this moment. And that might sound drastic, but that's the way it's going, boys, because 3 years ago it was, you know, oh, we've got to get into the top four, we've got to get into the top four. We're not even competing for that now. We can't even get into the Europa League via the league position. Things are dropping, and it's dropping badly. And I can't believe that no one's been sacked for the business they've been doing. And it's as big and strong as that. Yes, Emery messed up. He absolutely did mess up. What happened? He gets the sack. But you're telling me someone that can let Sanchez, a world-class player, leave this club for nothing? I mean, that's basically what he did. Give a player £350,000 a week because you didn't want to lose another player in the same window as Sanchez. Yeah. Then at the end of that season or the next season, go and lose a 27-year-old player in his prime for nothing in Aaron Ramsey. And by the way, who we've not replaced yet. And still be in a job, earning money, and then watching Arsenal play football every week. And it's not on. I don't blame Kroenke for that, because that's whoever he employed deserves sacking. But I will say it, if I'm an Arsenal man and I've got the heart and the love that I have, we can all see things are going wrong. So why don't you react to it? I know if that was me, I was in charge, I'd have them up there. Why have you let this player go for nothing? Why? And not only that, boys, we ain't learning our lessons. We're going into it now with Aubameyang. This has been going on for 5, 6, 7 years, and we're still not learning our lesson. Coming out and saying, "Oh, Aubameyang, we don't know what he's going to, we're not ever going to let this happen." Now, as good as Aubameyang is, he's holding the club to ransom at this moment in time because he's got two options here.
Shaheen has already given you, has also just listed another 5 players who are going down in the last 2 years.
Yeah. Let me just go through that, Sonny, if you don't mind.
Can I just before you do, can I just show you a stat? This is Arsenal's highest earners after the pay cut. Mesut Ozil, £306,000 a week. Aubameyang, 175. Lacazette, 159. So we've got uncertainty with Ozil. They don't want to play him. We've got Aubameyang, who is winding down his contract, is going to leave for nothing. Lacazette is going to be in his last season. Nicolas Pepe, who don't look interested. David Luiz turns up when he wants. Hector Bellerin, who's never recovered from his injury. Say Kolasinac, who's a disaster waiting to happen. Bert Leno, decent. Granit Xhaka is coming into the form of his life. And Sokratis, who can't get a game for toffee.
Lee, can I just explain something to you before I go, if I may? We're probably in agreement on this anyway. Kroenkes as a business, as business owners, they're not interested in winning trophies and so on. So they're interested in a steady business with an income. I was reading out a figure back before you come in. From 2002 to 2018, Arsenal will be making profit every year as a business, not on a transfer window, as a business. This is good for them. They don't need to do anything. Now that they're making losses, is the time that are you going to dip in your pocket to back this manager that you put in? And I 100% agree with you. This Raul Sanelli, he is supposed to be the daddy of Barcelona. He's the one who's, he's the one who's allegedly made them what it is. But somehow we're now in a position. Aubameyang is holding the club to ransom. Yes, I would do the same if I was him. I'm on the last year of my contract. I'm only due one more payday. Why wouldn't I? With a club that is all over the place and no one knows what's going on. And I'm just going to go through the list for you because you were not here earlier. These are the players that are contract expiring next season. So they're going to be on a last year. Aubameyang, Ozil, Sokratis, Luiz, Mustafi, Messi. The following year, 2022, Lacazette, Guendouzi, Kolasinac, Chambers, and Ketia Martinez. So ideally, if Arsenal want to generate some money, you're looking at the second batch. Lacazette, Guendouzi, Kolasinac, probably Chambers, and Ketia Martinez. Because the first one, who's going to pay money for Mustafi? Contract expiring next year. Ozil, you probably have to pay him something to leave, which is going to affect your transfer because I don't see anybody buying Ozil.
Before we come on to the other guests, guys, I want to bring the other guests in as well, give them a chance to speak. Can I just paint the picture even worse for a moment? Arsenal had a £30 million deficit this season. You said they've been making money since 2019. First time they suffered a loss of 30 million quid. If they do not, if football is played behind closed doors next season, they are going to lose another £144 million, right? In gate receipts alone, right? And obviously you're going to get sponsorship knock-ons on that as well. Also, as well, if they don't qualify for European competition via the FA Cup, they're going to lose even more money. Let's come on to Melvin, then we go to David, and we come to Levin as well.
Right. I heard a very good podcast about 4 or 5 weeks ago, excellent one, and they went into the actual dealings we did when we took over the stadium or built the stadium, and it just proves how right they were. The amount of interest we've paid is 50 million. We borrowed 170, was it? And now we owe 210. Basically, we've gone backwards. We paid about 60 million in interest rate. It was the worst deal ever when interest rates were low then. Also, moving on very quickly, we've actually taken £35 million of our own money back and paid a fine of 40 million. So that's a loss of fine. So why don't we just keep things as they were? It's really, I don't believe anything what we hear because it's a private company now.
They couldn't keep things as they were because they're blaming it on cash. They're blaming it on cash flow. That's why they went.
No. This is before the virus, Sonny. Right? This is before the virus. They did all this. All right. This last bit wasn't planned. I agree, but you still don't go and take your own money back and then lose more than you've taken back. So I think it's a private company. We haven't got a clue what goes on. And what you say, that at the end of the season, we can see where all the money's gone. It's not a public company. They don't have to show us anything.
Melvin, I've got to take you up on that, because the only defence I say of that is because even though like any fixed rate you're tied into, you're going to pay a penalty, right? But if the interest exceeds the penalty you're going to pay, if the interest exceeds the penalty you're going to pay over the term, then you're better off paying the penalty to get out of it. It's like any fixed rate mortgage. But
we don't know that the interest rate we're going to pay is going to be much better for the club, do we? We just said we don't know.
It could simply mean there's more money for Kroenke this year because they're going to charge more interest rate. And
exactly.
Melvin, the only chance that us as a fan will probably get to see anything as to what they do is once a year when they issue their accounts, and that may show something, it may not show, and that always it's about some time in before. You're spot on. There is so much that we don't know as fans what is going on in our clubs, and there's such a distance between us as fans and board that all of these questions exist. And you're 100% spot on.
We don't need to be the firm's accountants to see with our own eyes what is going on the pitch, and that says it all. David,
I think Arsenal's money woes are just a string of different issues, to be honest. I mean, when you look at it, and including the transfer window that's coming up, I mean, is there really any money whatsoever to fork out for players? Obviously, the Arsenal Supporters Trust, I've been reading this up as well, predicted the Arsenal would register a £90 million loss for the year ending May 2020. I'm not sure if it exceeded that or decreased in that, but for me overall, they could lose anywhere up to 100 to 150 million pound over the next 12 months. Obviously, all the transfers, all the contracts coming over to an end. So it's just looking very bleak for Arsenal. I'm not sure what's happening. Is it internal issue? Most probably. Is it an issue overall with every single factor of the club? Is Arsenal a possible club that can go into administration in the future? Who knows? We don't know yet. It's just a whole string of different issues that are going on at Arsenal, and it's looking bleak for the club at the moment.
Lev, before I come on to you,
Sonny, sorry, 1 second. Can I just address something David said before we go, Sonny, if I may? I don't think Arsenal have got a great transfer budget to spend, and I'll tell you why. Chelsea wanted Werner. They went out there, they got the deal done, early doors, done. Ziyech coming, done. They're looking to get this Havertz guy in, done, no problem. But us as Arsenal, as a club, we're going to Atletico Madrid saying, we know you won £45 million for this guy, but we're going to offer you a player and this much money. That's not how it works. If you want a player, if you want Thomas Partey, which the team is crying out for, if you want a proper centre-back like Upamecano or somebody that you're crying out for, you go out there, you put the money on the table, and you say, I want this guy, and you bring him in. Same thing that Chelsea does, Man United does, Liverpool does, but somehow we're different.
It's not the owner, it's the self-sustained model that's causing that, and I think it's the owner. It's the owner. I mean, look at Man City, for example. I mean, their owners are flooded with money. We all know that, yeah. But the situation, they go out and they spend the most important positions before, which was left back and right back to them. That was Guardiola's forefront of his mind. We're spending this on Mendy and we're spending this on Kyle Walker, and that's it. And that's how they became title contenders. It needs to be coming from the owner that he's going to say, like Sonny said earlier, I want to give up this amount of money. Let's go and get Thomas Partey. It's 45 million for a buyout clause. Come on. I mean, that money these days is cheap spend for a lot of these clubs.
For the caliber of the player it is.
Exactly.
And David, you've got to look at the board here as well. If you're Edu, I don't know what Edu is doing there, or Raul Sanelli, go to the owner and tell him, listen, I know you don't understand much about football, but look, we finished 8th. If we don't address these issues, we're going to finish 10th or 11th next season. It's going to be a problem. So you've got to look at the board. That why are you not putting pressure on the owner to give you money to spend?
I think one of us needs to play devil's advocate on the show tonight, and I think that's going to be me, even though I agree with everything you're saying, everything all of you said, right? But I need to play devil's advocate to put the argument across. Surely, if you go to negotiation, you don't go to negotiation and offer your best price at once, whether it's a buyout clause or not. You don't know what conversations have gone ahead with Thomas Partey or not. Thomas Partey grew up as an Arsenal fan, and he's got his heart set on joining Arsenal. Right, they've offered him a financial package, which is exciting for Thomas Partey, which is which is probably double his wages. So Arsenal might have an idea in their mind that, hang on a minute, everyone's prices have dropped since this pandemic. Why are we going in and paying the buyout clause when there's a certain amount of brinkmanship needs to be done to start with? Matthew Guendouzi, some Arsenal fans, when he first came in, they were saying that this guy was worth 70 million quid. So why is Matthew Guendouzi now, who last season was one of the brightest prospects in Europe, is now being treated as a make-way and a laughing stock to be offered to Atletico Madrid? Levin.
Hello, mate. Right. Well, look, I've been sitting very anxiously listening to everyone's figures. The Guendouzi thing, mate, that you suggested, Sonny, with regards to Guendouzi. The answer there is quite simple. Arteta probably don't rate.
I don't think I can hear you properly.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, thanks for that. I don't think Arteta rates Guendouzi. Clearly, for the type of player that he's looking for and the type of system he wants to play, I don't think Guendouzi fits that role.
It doesn't lessen the guy's value, though.
No, we're not saying it does. But look, at the end of the day, it's a weird time, isn't it? With this pandemic, the money and everything, it's a bit strange with regards to the transfers. And I've listened to everyone here. 45 million for someone like Partey should not be a problem for someone, a team like Arsenal. It's bonkers. But everyone's talked about the facts and the figures. I like to talk about the fan perspective and the fans' input. That's in a way. It's given them the excuse to be able to continue in this within this sort of fashion. Because, in my opinion, I've been watching our fan base for a number of years now, and we're so busy being divided as a base, right? Whilst we're bickering between ourselves, the board sit in the middle and get away with it every year. It's a manager; they'll change a manager. Changing a manager is one thing, but if you're chaining him and you're not giving him the funds that he needs to compete with the top, you can keep changing those managers. All right, yeah, you get the odd manager, like Klopp when he was at Dortmund, he worked within a budget. It can be done. Some of the smaller teams who are at the top within the Premier League, they've done amazingly well, and they've bought some great players. Yes, you can do it by scouting, but the top teams, they have to go and buy the cream of the crop. And as you lot mentioned, Chelsea have done it. Man United are doing it. What are we talking about? What type of players are we talking about? But this is where my problem is. The fans, we bicker Wenger in, Wenger out. We bicker about Arteta. The plane went up. Everyone went mad about the plane. We're all arguing amongst ourselves. It was embarrassing.
I did ask another podcaster on today who's got his own quite successful YouTube channel, and he says no, I don't want to come on because I don't agree with the plane.
Right. Now, you know what? I'm glad you said that, Sonny, because I want to shoot from the hip here. Right. So there's podcasters out there that are clearly saying there's something wrong, but then when other people want to do something about it, then they all kick off and they say, "Oh, it's embarrassing." Is it not embarrassing to finish 8th? Like, I'm more embarrassed about finishing 8th than seeing a plane go over the stadium. And sorry, Melvin, do you want to say something, mate? Go for it.
Yeah, I do. I want to go on the other side of the fence here. Right? Nothing personal here, boys. But you want to say you want to do something, 100% agree with you. Right. But doesn't mean if you don't fly the plane, nothing can be done. There can be other ways of doing it rather than flying a plane. What you want to do is stand together. I know it's difficult. I know it's difficult because all different factions within our fan base. But what you want to try and do is get a common denominator that we all believe in and we can all put our name to. Not everyone will agree, and it's you do what you like with the plane. It's up to you. You spend your money how you like. No problem with that at all. But it doesn't mean it's the best way it could have been done. I never said that. I'll come straight out. Quite obviously, I don't.
Can I just say something?
Hold on, Shaheen. I'll just come on, Shaheen. Give me a chance.
All right, go on.
Melvin, 100%, mate. If you don't agree with the method, I've got no problem with that. And I'm not necessarily saying I would have picked the plane because, it's not my organised effort. But, all right, you say there's a different way of doing it. You've come on, you're talking about it with me, right? And you're saying, okay, we could do something better. All right, fine, agreed. Maybe it can be better. But then come on and talk about it. Let's be a unified fan base and have a unified approach. Because this board, they're making us pay business class flight prices, and we're getting EasyJet at the moment, right? So at the end of the day, something has to happen. The plane, I think, was just a gentle nudge just before the transfer window to say, guys, we believe in the manager. For the first time, it's a positive message. If you want to look at it properly, we believe in the manager, back him, right? Now, I'm not saying the plane was the perfect method. I've got a load of different ideas, that it could be carried out with. But my problem is this: why are the fan base so intent on arguing with each other? What's the deal with that? It's been going on for years.
Well, Turkish London tried to do a protest. He was laughed at. It was laughed at for trying to do it. Lee, we bought Nicolas Pepe for 72 million. Where's the problem?
His mic is muted.
Lee, you're muted, mate. Lee, you're muted.
Sorry. Sorry, how unprofessional that is, So whether you agree with the plane or not, listen, I don't agree with the plane, I'll be honest. But what I will say is, people are passionate about the football club. And if they want to go and do that, I'm not going to condemn it. You know what I mean? It's up to them what they want to do. And I've got no problem with that. It shows that they care. Whether you think it's right or wrong, that's another issue. But basically is that if you protest, there's going to be people that are going to complain about that. If you do something else, someone's going to complain about that. It's just the way it is, And there's a lot, unfortunately, with the Arsenal fan base, there's a lot of egos. There's a lot of people that want their egos caressed, and if they're not involved, they don't like it and whatever. The fact of the matter is, what I think a lot of Arsenal fans probably the problem with, I haven't got. How can I say it? The transfer window at this moment in time has not been done. And you're going to get two sides of the argument here. One is I would think, right, okay, so when the transfer window closes and Arsenal haven't spent no money, then I think protests and planes up and all that, not a problem. But then on the other hand, you're going to get people turn around and say, well, what's the point of doing it now? Because it's all finished.
Too late, yeah.
You know what I mean? We should have done that before. So I haven't got a problem with the plane going up as a gentle reminder, which has just been said, which is a good thing, or supporters protesting, going along to the stadium and saying, look, back the manager, or we want something done. So it's a very, very hard, it's a very thin line to go what is right and what is wrong. Now, if at the end of this, let's say, for instance, they're going to transfer window and we all get what we want, people will turn around and go, well, that's silly. We shouldn't have put that plane up. Other people will turn around and go, well, if we didn't put that plane up, would he have gone in and done what he done in the transfer window? So there's two very big sides here. I don't want, come the first game of the season, to lose 8-2 to make my board decide they've got to go and spend some players like they did 5-6 years ago, whenever it was, when we went to Old Trafford and we lost 8-2. And that was, that's embarrassing, by the way. To go when the team goes up to a club and it's totally unprepared, totally outclassed, and to me that is something that's totally wrong in this club. Now, when people turn around and say, "Oh, this is embarrassing," AFT is embarrassing, planes going up's embarrassing, yeah, they say everything's embarrassing apart from the team. The team is 8th in the league. I never left Highbury spending double the amount of money that I spend now to see us in 8th and challenging for and not even getting in the Europa League, and praying that we beat Arsenal beat Chelsea to get ourselves in the Europa League final, which, by the way, is a cup final, which is over 4 or 5 games, not 38, 4 or 5, 6 games, which any team can do with a bit of luck of the draw, by the way. Watford got to the final last season. So when people turn around and say achievements and things like that, it's not right. There's a lot of embarrassment at this football club from top to bottom. And while we keep arguing and going on with each other and everything like that, things ain't going to change. So for me, if the lads want to put up a banner, I, as I say, I don't agree with it, but I tell you, I'm not going to condemn it. And I don't think anybody's got the right to condemn it, especially when you see what's going on at this moment in time. It's not good enough. What are you going to wait till we get relegated before someone's going to come out? We're going to unite when we get relegated. Is that when it's going to take? It's got to start somewhere, lads. If it's with a plane, it's a banner. I just want to say one more thing. One good thing about it, Sonny. One good thing about it is Mikel Arteta didn't have to address it after that game against Aston Villa, but he did. He turned around and said, "Trust me, the board are backing me." That is good enough for me, and that's the message that sent out. Fine, it's got a reaction, and I'm happy with it.
But then they go and put the advisory offer for Thomas Partey, which has just been laughed at.
How true is that, though?
Yeah, but he's saying that, Sonny. Sonny, in saying that, they done this with the Tierney one, like, you know what I mean? Like, they've done this before. At the end of the day, it's negotiating. They're going to try and get what best deal they can for at the end of the day. At the end, don't forget, you have to look on this side of it. Like, they're not stupid. They know Thomas Partey wants to come to Arsenal. Yeah, he's probably said to them, "I ain't going to go nowhere else." Right. So Arsenal now are going to try and get the best deal they can. You know what I mean? It's like Aubameyang turns round to Arsenal today and says, "I'm not going to sign a new contract unless I sign for Real Madrid." It doesn't matter if you've got 60, 70 million from Barcelona. He's basically told them, "I want to go here." So he's probably told Madrid, "I'm only going to go to Arsenal." So, there's no real negotiate with any other team where they can bump it up. So Arsenal are trying their end. And I don't see anything wrong with that. As long as they get their man. Don't fuck about and not get their man, then that's a different case scenario. And that's what you've got to say.
We don't know what's actually going on. Let's be honest, right? Arsenal are quite cagey at the best of times, and sometimes they come out with something we don't even know about. So I'll take it with a pinch of salt.
I think.
Go on.
Yeah, sorry. I think most of these Arsenal bid for this, bid for that right now, I think it's probably paper talk, because I don't see Arsenal doing anything before the cup final, because they need to know whether we're in Europe or we're not. Even for the player.
Yeah, but that's one thing. Whether they're in Europe or not, it's only a £30 million difference, and that's if they get to the final.
Yeah, but I think just before a cup final, they probably focused on the game and so on, so. I just want to say something. I want to thank Lee and Melvin, because when I put up a post about the banner and the plane that went up, the amount of abuse I've got on Twitter was unreal, and I was shocked. And there are people in there, a lot of them who've got some known podcasts, because I actually tagged them because I wanted to generate awareness for it. And everybody is so quick to say, "Oh, we're not associated with this, we're not this, we're not that, we're not this," and then calling me things like names like moron, this, that, you're an embarrassment to the club, and so and so, so and so. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. Don't agree with me. Like you, Melvin, you don't agree with the plane. I respect your opinion. But you say you're not going to say it's my choice and this and that. And we have a healthy debate. You don't come on Twitter and you debate me, and in the middle of a debate, you block me. That is not right. This is the problem with the fan base. That why are we so abusive towards each other? Why are we starting off George Armstrong's daughter? What is that about? She's a daughter of a legend of a club. Why are we having to go at her? And then she's like, "Oh, I'm going to go off Twitter. I'm not having to." Why are you abusing me, who's contributed to a movement that after a game, all the journalists are asking questions about? So it's getting to the board that, listen, everybody's asking questions. And maybe Arteta has come out, yes, they backing me, this and that. As, guys, I'm backing you. You better now back me. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem. But why the abuse? Why this and that? I don't have a big social media account. I don't have a channel about this. I'm not looking to make money from this. I'm doing this because I love because I remember my club beat it. I remember not even watching some games because I know we're going to win. I remember going to Anfield and thinking, yeah, we can beat these. Go to Chelsea, no problem. That doesn't exist anymore. I want that club back. I want my Arsenal back, which is the name.
I just want to read out the super
somehow,
chat, Shaheen. I just want to read out the super chat from Zane, because we've got to give super chats priority. Zane is saying, get the wig wearer owner out of the club. I wish it was that simple. David, you haven't said too much.
I think personally, overall, when you look at the deterioration of Arsenal over the last 10 plus years, it's getting out of hand that a lot of the Arsenal fans, obviously you're saying they become divided, when before they were united pretty much under Highbury before the Emirates even came about and before Kroenke even took over. So you're looking at Arsenal as a general club, and they have a very, very strong fan base. They're the third most popular club in England, one of the most popular clubs in the world. They have huge fan bases across Asia. They have huge fan bases across Europe. And if you look at the metrics overall, Arsenal as a club deserve better. You don't need to go, and we done a special on Bielsa the other day, you don't need to go into the Leeds kind of trajectory where they have to get relegated twice before they decide, okay, we're going to do this. Yeah, I'm not saying that's going to happen to Arsenal. I don't think Arsenal can do that. I don't think they will get relegated. But it's heading down into a system where it's just going to become a never-ending cycle. And the only way to break that cycle is to do something positive for some of the fan base, even though some don't agree with it as well. So the plane movement, different things, maybe boycotting games, different movements that's going to show the owner, okay, let's put our hand out of our ass and let's actually go out there, buy some players, let's get behind Arteta. Is Arteta going to become another yes man to the board, like Wenger was towards the later part of his career? Is he going to become another yes man? Is Arteta a strong enough character to go up to the board and say, no, I'm going to demand this? Guardiola, I tell you, will. Guardiola will.
What a statement this is. What a statement this is. Give us your thoughts on this, guys.
Leave it out, Terry. Leave it out, Terry.
Terry, big friend of ours. Terry said, you made a mistake, my friend. All the playing achieved was to embarrass Arteta. Terry, how did it embarrass Arteta?
How?
I don't think, if anything, it's in support of Arteta. We're asking for him to be backed. And if you're not going to back him, then leave.
All right, hold on. Terry's a funny guy. I know Terry well. Like, look, Lee hit the nail on the head a bit earlier, right? It's no point in like being a skinflint and owning this club the way Kroenke's doing it, but the performances on the pitch is what sells this club, right? The trophies, the success is what sells this club, right? It's any football club. History. If you're not doing that on the pitch, what is the point? What are you doing? Like we're going further and further down the pecking order, and I think we have let them get away with it because we're too busy bickering amongst ourselves. That's the message here. Whether Terry thinks it was embarrassing for Arteta or whatever, look, we've all talking about it. Everyone's been talking about it. You need to nudge this board because if we let them coast, they'll do it. Other people have come out as well, which has really like messed with my head recently. Suddenly defending Kroenke. How do you know Kroenke's not going to back him? Kroenke spent money. Okay, so he did spend money. Let's just say he threw some money or we used some money, right? Let's just say he did spend some money. On what? And who has he been hiring? And what have they been doing? Any company owner is responsible for his business. I don't care what anyone says. And if anything's going wrong, it's under his stewardship, it's under his guidance. He needs questions asked. So, Terry, I don't see how Arteta would have been embarrassed by that. I think, if anything, by saying back Arteta, that would have given him a boost. That's my opinion on that.
Can I say something? Can I say something, boys, which is very, very important? Go through history, right? You can blame Kroenke. What Arsenal have never been a big spending club. Never ever have they been up there.
True.
Buying the players back from the 70s. They've never competed with the top players all the time. When all the top players have come about, Arsenal have never ever been in with them. You know,
Bank
I
of
can
England
only
club,
remember.
right?
Yeah, the only time I can remember that Arsenal went big for somebody was back in 1983 with Charlie Nicholas when the other teams wanted him. Other than that, I've never known Arsenal to be in for the top range players. So why is it going to change now? It's the way that they've gone about it, and I think they continue to go on about it. But Terry made a fantastic point just now. Just caught the end of it, like, you know, the fans will unite, and the fans will forgive if they're winning. If Arsenal, if Arteta, if for instance, Arteta spends £60 million this season, and Arsenal will challenge for the championship and challenge for the top four, they will not be getting onto Kroenke's back and whatever, like, you know. They'll be saying this is.
Yeah,
but
Lee, that's what we want. I want my team to compete. If my team is competing for the honours, why am I going to moan for? I'm not going to moan for the sake of moaning.
I'm going to moan. Competing is one thing. Having a chance of actually winning it is two different things. You know, competing in it is just being in it.
We haven't competed. Let's be honest. Since we've been at the Emirates, we've not competed. We've not competed for the title since 2004. So that's why fans are going to get the ump. I'm talking genuinely. If Arsenal are next season, hammer and tongs trying to win the league, like they have done in the past, then it's great. But what I've got to say is, Manchester City has spent a fortune last season and were so short of beating Liverpool. So I don't see them moaning and groaning about what they're doing, because they believe in the process. They believe in what is being done at the football club, and that's the culture they've got. But we're in a scenario where we don't believe what's going on over a process of so many years.
Lee, let's get it right. Lee, let's get it right. The only reason we wanted Wenger to go, right, is because we honestly thought Wenger could have brought us to compete, right? And the fact that we was only qualified for the top four, as Arsenal fans, me personally, I thought Wenger had enough in his locker to make us challenge again, and he didn't. Year after year after year after year. Now we're falling so far below our standards that we can't even qualify for a Europa League spot, right? Kelvin, then you get fans like Kelvin, big up my brother. Kelvin saying, we bought an entire back line just recently, but we're still complaining. Appreciate the efforts of the board. Kelvin, who have we actually bought? We bought a back line. It's like buying a spare tire with a puncher.
I don't.
Listen,
can I just say?
Can I just address something here?
Is Cedric the answer at right back? Is Cedric the answer
No, it's
at
not.
right back?
No, it's Pablo Mari the answer.
To make the same mistake.
It's
continuing to make mistakes.
Is Sokratis the answer? Is Mustafi the answer? Is Pablo Mari the answer?
No.
Is David Luiz the answer? Is Callum Chambers the answer? Is Rob Holding the answer?
Stop skinflinting and get the right people in.
Exactly. Can I just say something?
The process at the moment doesn't work.
I'd like to see Kelvin ask for a car, ask for a Merc, and someone drive up with, I don't know, Del Boy's freewheeler and see if he's happy with that. Still got a car, haven't you, Kelvin?
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
Can I just say something? Sorry, Dave.
No, go on,
Lee,
go on.
You know, earlier you said about Arsenal and the history, if you're looking at, and I agree with you, 100%. I think football has changed now, but we have not changed with football. People have come in that they're spending money, they're buying quality players, and we're going on. Now, we might turn around and say we're not the club that we're going to buy silverware, but somewhere, somehow, at least we need to address the issues with quality signing. As you said earlier, right now, we're not addressing the problem. In January, Flamingo. See, I'm losing now. Flamingo, a club in Brazil, with all due respect to them, they go in public saying Arsenal don't have money to buy this guy for £8 million. And Arsenal are coming saying we can only do loans. Flamingo, Pablo Mari, and we're expecting them to go buy Dewa Upamecano.
But let me remind you guys, right? Arsenal hid behind financial fair play. For years, they hid behind financial fair play. Didn't bother Manchester City. It didn't bother Liverpool. It didn't bother Chelsea. It didn't bother anyone. No one has been banned for financial fair play, right? Arsenal hid behind it for years. They used it as their shield not to spend any money. Then they hid behind the salary cap. Basically, we reached that salary cap. We've addressed that issue. We've lowered the salary cap. They're still not spending money. Now it's COVID. They're hiding behind the pandemic. When are Arsenal going to fucking spend some fucking money to get this team back to where it should be? Because what they're doing is clearly not fucking working.
Right, listen,
I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather have a couple of transfer window ban on my club, but sign some heavy-duty defenders.
You're telling me exactly.
And then finish on the top four, compete for titles, finish on top four, and so what? We take the ban. But no, we stick to a rule that apparently only exists for Arsenal, nobody else.
You know what?
This is the result.
You know
Sorry,
what?
Melvin, to interrupt you.
I just want to read out his super chat from Zane. Zane said, Lee, why did we spend 60 million on Pepe when we could have bought Bruno? But I just want to say, right, do you know what Arsenal getting this owner is like? Bearing in mind, Chelsea got Abramovich, right? Man United got the Glazers. Like them or lump it, they've spent money, right? Newcastle got the shaking. Man City got a shaking, right? What did Arsenal get? Arsenal, on paper, we got a good-looking bird, right? We don't want to fuck. That's what we got. We should don't want to have sex. We got a good-looking bird, don't want to have sex. We ain't got fuck all.
That's a strange analogy.
On top of that, you can't cook either.
All right, look. This is Lee was saying about like the process, etc., and Shaheen was saying about addressing problems. Right? You can go. How far back can we go where we always needed 2 or 3 players? Just 2 or 3. Just the centre back. Just the DM. Just this. Just that. We were always 2 or 3 players off, right? And they refused to spend a little bit to put us where we needed to be, and they're still doing it. Now, I trust the process when it comes to Arteta because he's given us a system and a style of play. We haven't had that for a while, and he obviously knows what's required to get to that level. But he needs to be backed. He needs the right type of players. We don't have the right type of players. They're technically not good enough to carry out the system that Arteta wants to play. It has to be quick. It has to be tight. You have to close down, win the ball back. The transition has to be a lot quicker. People like Xhaka, decent player, but he's not the right type of player for Arteta, so I wouldn't even be surprised if he sells him. I trust his judgment. I listen to what he says. I'm 100% behind him. But unless the board back him, it's pointless. I think the fan base just needs to all unite, get together, regardless whether it's a plane, whether it's a guy in swimming trunks, walking. I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Just everyone do something positive together.
Someone's going to be in swimming trunks.
It's not the Arsenal way, is it? It's not the Arsenal way.
That's you, David.
It's not the Arsenal way. The Arsenal way is just go to the ground, meet up with your mates, have a couple of pints of lager, enjoy your day out, and go home. And you know what? No one is supposed to moan. We're not supposed to moan. If you moan, you're not an Arsenal fan.
Listen, the thing is, what Lee said before, we've never been the biggest spending club. I agree with that. But on the other side of it, when we have spent money, not the most, but we've got decent players in. The percentage of duds we've bought over the last 10 years against the amount of decent players we've got has never been in the Arsenal history before. We've always bought better players than bad players, percentage-wise. It's gone completely the other way the last 10 years. And it's a wonder who picks these players out. If they do it on a computer or they just get a pin, but they can't look at the players. It really is very, very depressing. And one other thing, just to go back a little bit, talking about the finance of this club, we've got a £710 million debt. The club, at its peak, when we were actually in Europe, was allegedly worth £2 billion. There was a bid on the table, right? But you've got to remember, this club is only worth what someone's prepared to pay for it if the owner decides to sell. Because I'll tell you something now, he ain't going to get $2 billion now. Because of football,
there's no chance.
You can't do it like any other model, like how many pairs of shoes you sell. It's a very strange way with a private company, especially a football club, to actually say what they're worth. It's only worth what someone's prepared to bid. So we've got 710 that we know about, that we own. We probably 130. You're talking about next year, son, if we don't get into Europe, right? And we
140,
800. All of a sudden, our debt might be worth more than the club's worth.
You can't
And
price
that is a good way, and no one's talking about it.
price it like that. You can't price a football club like any other business.
Exactly, it's only worth what someone's prepared to pay.
Well, basically, the people prepared to pay for football clubs are people who use football clubs as a plaything nowadays. The mega rich oil money and the sheikhs, and they don't care how much debt the club is in. As far as they're concerned, it's a plaything for them. 2 billion, or 3 billion, or 4 billion, or 5 billion for Arsenal is chicken feed to some of these people out there.
Yeah,
They're not stupid. They're not stupid.
No, but they bought the best cars, they bought the best islands, they bought the best of everything, and now it's can I make it? You tell me the person who bought Newcastle has even been to Newcastle in his life, never.
Sonny, as much as we love the Arsenal, if we are down below, really either the division below or low in the table for years, as much as we love this club, it ain't going to be worth anything
I'll tell you something. It's a very, 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 very dark fact. What's a very dark fact is Tottenham Hotspur are going to be worth a lot more money than Arsenal in a couple of years. They're going to generate a lot more money than Arsenal with the American football deal coming on. They've got a better stadium than Arsenal. Their match day revenue is and their corporate deals is already more than Arsenal. They're going to leave us behind by some way. And Daniel Levy is the type of owner, type of director, chairman that we needed. Not who we got now.
Look, if we're going to be owned by someone, you might as well be owned by someone with an ego that doesn't want to lose. That's where it's got to now, because it doesn't matter anymore. If you might as well have someone with an ego who cares enough to want to win and is ruthless. And look, even if you want to look at balancing out, cheaper deals and better players, and lower level teams like Wolves and Sheffield United and Leicester, they've all done better finding cheap young talent or up and comers. And when was the last time Arsenal ever sold a £100 million player, or when did we ever sell a £100 million player?
Nothing.
But look at Liverpool. It sparked Liverpool's rebirth, didn't it? Selling Coutinho.
Yeah, it did.
Right? Failed. Sold by Spurs. That sparked their rebirth. Not rebirth, a birth. It sparked their birth. But we don't get those type of players to sell on, do we? Either.
For me, I think Arsenal has not adapted with the times of how big money clubs are spending for their players. They haven't adapted throughout the years. So if you look out throughout the 10 years and you look out Liverpool, obviously Liverpool with their player that Coutinho sell to Barcelona was incredible. So it gave them the chance to spend big on Van Dijk and so forth. But if you look at Arsenal in general, they haven't adapted with the changing times in the transfer windows. We're not talking about your 28, your 40 million pounds for like Beckham and Zidane back in the day. We're talking about big money here that Arsenal need to spend for other players. So the problem is that the owner's literally living in a prehistoric time. He doesn't want to spend anything for any player. He's literally going, cheap out on this second-rate player, whatever we want to offer him, and then that's it. We don't want... Kroenke said he doesn't want to compete for titles anyway, so I don't know why you have an owner that doesn't want to compete for titles.
We're happy to buy the big players. I know good, but we're so big. We're going to afford to let Sanchez go for nothing when allegedly there was a £60 million bid on the table. It doesn't make sense to me.
No. Yeah. Can I just address something else as well? This is a good time for me to address this. I saw somebody put a comment in the chat. I feel I have to defend Kia Joorabchian here. He's my fellow countryman. I don't know him directly, but I know people who are in his circle. Now, Kia is a very intelligent guy. He's very good at what he does, and most of South American players on his book. Now, if Arsenal are going to Kia Joorabchian and saying, listen, mate, can you find me a defender for 8 to 10 million pounds? We ain't got money to spend. We don't want money to spend. How is it that it's his fault that Arsenal are going downhill? Or why is he getting abused? Because if Arsenal go to him and tell him, listen, we've got 80 million pounds, can you give us a top player? He will get you a top player because he's got them on his books. But somehow he's on par with Raul, as if he's sitting on Arsenal board and he's saying, yeah, let's buy defender, let's get David Luiz for 8 million. He does a job. They go to him as a player. He's got a commission and he gets paid. I don't understand why abuse him.
You know
Just
what?
like so many other things.
What a great point. This was from Pablo Freshkenbar. Pablo says, how can we have a self-sustaining model if we can't sell any of our players? It's non-economy. Lee Judges.
Great point.
Lee Judges, what can you actually see Arsenal doing in this transfer window if you had a crystal ball?
What I'd do, I'd buy
not what you do. What can you see that we'll end up with? Because I'll say the same, right? There's a lot of pressure on William Sleep already, and nobody knows what we're going to get with this kid.
I am quietly confident that Arsenal will surprise everybody. I think we'll make some good deals in the summer. I believe we will, because you know why? Because we're bloody going to have to. Because if we don't, the club will go into meltdown. I think they're into a position now where they, you can't turn around and say, like, and be hoodwinked like we had before. We only need a goalkeeper, or we only need this, we only need that to get to challenge and all that. Like, we're 8th in the league. We could have actually been 10th in the league if Sheffield United and Sheffield United and Burnley, got results on the last game of the season. We're 10th. You can't argue with the fact. You know what I mean? You could turn around if Kroenke come on there and say we don't need this and we don't need that. You can't be. You just cannot defend what's gone in front of them. So they're going to have to buy some players. Now, I don't care if it's 25 million and 50 million. If the 25 million pound player is as good as what Tierney has been for 25 million as a centre half, I'll take that. If the centre midfield player is good enough, you know what I mean. But the fact of the matter is, Arsenal are crying out for players, and this is what going to get my goat a little bit. We are crying out for a player like Jack Grealish. I know that we need to get central defenders, and we need to do that. But we're also crying out for a player like Jack Grealish, who is available. Now, that an Arsenal Football Club moved to the Emirates so that we can get players like that are available. And that is as simple as that. Yes, we need central defenders. I'm not bothered if we go and buy Grealish and then we have to sell 3 or 4 players to get the central defenders. That is what they're getting paid for, all these millions of pounds to do. And they've got to do it. I honestly feel they will do it. I think that they will make signings this summer. I think they will make signings this summer. I think they'll make some positive signings to this team. Because if they don't, boys, do you think Mikel Arteta is going to stand around? I've just seen a masterclass in him just turn over Pep over in the semi-final with Man City. So other managers are going to say, "Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll take him, and I'll back him. I'll take him." Like Newcastle, for instance, might think to themselves, "I'll tell you what, we've got a new man, and we'll back him."
Lee, you're missing the point. You know why? We already had the fire sale, Lee, to get Aubameyang and Lacazette. We already had the fire sale by when we're selling 5 players, when we're selling the Walcotts, when we're selling the Chamberlains, when we're selling the Giroux to get Lacazette and Aubameyang. We've run out of fucking players who are worth any money. None of them are worth any fucking money.
Do you know what? I think we can sell some. I think we can sell some.
I disagree with that. I totally disagree with that. We've got Martinelli, who's going to be worth a lot of money. We've got Saka, who's going to be worth a lot of money. What are they actually worth now?
No, if we was looking for players to sell, Lee, I just want to read that super set, but I
don't want to sell them to.
I just wanted to read that super set. I want you to tell me the players. But read this out for me and then tell me who we should sell to make some money.
It doesn't matter what football club you're at. If you're at Barcelona or you're at Manchester City, you don't want to sell your best players.
Exactly.
So why are we saying, we've got great players here, great players there? You want to sell players that are not good enough.
Exactly.
So the ones that are not good enough, if you can get 5-10 million for, you don't, we've done that 10 years ago, selling our best players.
They're not worth fuck all, Lee.
No, hold on. There are some you can sell.
Let's just stop there a minute. So I just want to read out a super chat. Zane says, Sonny Kroenke won't spend money because he's making
goalkeepers are worth a lot of money.
Lee, the players who we surplus to requirements, right? Who we can actually sell. We don't mind if we get rid of them. What are they actually worth? Can you boys go through it and let me know? But let's start.
We've got 2 goalkeepers.
Who do you keep?
We've got two goalkeepers, right? We've got two goalkeepers. Martinez has put at least £20 million on his target the way he's played. So there's one you can sell. Not that I'm saying you should sell, but that's something you could do.
I think it's better than Leno.
Chelsea bought Kepa for 72,
Yeah,
so you might as well sell them Martinez for 50.
Yeah.
Would you take a bold step?
Exactly, because they've got two very, very good goalkeepers.
Lee, would you take a bold step, guys in the panel? Would you guys in the panel take a bold step of selling a Leno for 30 million?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Shaheen?
Come again. I didn't get the question.
More than that. I'd want more than that.
Would you sell? Would you? All right. See, Kepa went for 72 million. Would you sell Leno for 40?
I wouldn't sell Leno.
Yeah, probably for 40 million.
I'd sell Leno or Martinez for that sort of price, yeah, because we've got one of them. Because one of them's going to be surplus requirements.
Right.
Whether you take Leno, that means Martinez can't play.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Ainsley Maitland-Niles, realistically, what is he actually worth, this kid?
About 15, 20 mil.
Well, I'd pick Maitland-Niles and sell Bellerin. That's what I would do.
Yeah,
Okay.
You know what, Lee? I'm so happy you said that, mate. I'm so happy you said that, Lee.
Good point. Bellerin had a value. Bellerin had a value once upon a time of £50 million. What's it worth now?
25, 30.
I'd sell Bellerin based on his performances. And he's not technically the best footballer, and he's not the best defender, and he's lost his main.
Yeah, but you know what? Bellerin in a Spanish or Italian league will be a really good.
But he's not in a Spanish or Italian league.
No, but if somebody buys him, then
20 million pounds Bellerin, yeah. Bearing in mind, we've now got Ainsley Maitland-Niles at right back, and we've also got Cedric Suarez, because they're not going to go and buy Max Harris for 30 million, right?
No, that's sufficient. That's sufficient.
Right. Centre backs, Lee. I know we've done it all before, right? Pablo Mari, we're keeping. It's obvious, right? We just bought the geezer. William Saliba's coming in. William Saliba's coming in.
As a backup.
Yeah. Rob Holding has clearly shown he's not good enough. Right? Sell Holding. What would we get for Holding?
Sell. Yeah, sell.
Oh, guys, what would we get for Holding? We've got 10 million for Holding.
10 million?
25 million for
10 million.
10 million for Holding, 25 million for Bellerin. That's 35. Callum Chambers, will we get anything for him?
Not the
I'll
moment.
keep Chambers.
Well, he's injured at the moment, but he's worth. I'd keep him as a backup.
Keep Chambers.
15 million.
Mustafi, 5 million. He's coming to the end of his contract. Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon you can get 10 million from Mustafi.
Let's say 5. Let's keep conservative. That's 40 million, right? Then we
80 million. If you want the goalie for 40.
Right, let's forget about the goalie at the moment. Let's forget about it, because getting 40 million for Leno, I don't think they'll pay 40 million for Leno. Right?
We've got to be careful with Martinez. He's only played 4 or 5 games.
Okay, all right.
Well, we sell one of them.
Okay. Right,
Yeah.
so Sokratis, are you going to get any value for him? Another 5 million?
Sokratis next year his contract expires.
He's on a free next year.
Free transfer. Sokratis, nothing. We're now moving into the midfield. Joe Willock, likelihood loan. Do you not agree?
Loan.
Yeah, I think
loan
so.
out Willock.
I think he needs a loan spell. Yeah.
Granit Xhaka is a mainstay in my opinion now.
Yeah.
Right. Who else have we got?
Yeah, but if you're going to get Party, you could afford to sell him.
Yeah,
If you get Party, Torreira will probably go.
All right. So
Torreira go. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Right, okay. Torreira. What's likely? Torreira's a flop, a big time flop for me.
I reckon we can get 25 million for
25.
Torreira. 25.
Right, so 25 million for Torreira. We're now looking at 65, right? And we've sold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players so far. 4 players so far, right?
You still got El Neni, Kolasinac, El Neni.
El Neni, we're lucky to give away.
Fiver.
Right.
Get a fiver for him. What you
No, El Neni, I reckon 8 million, 10 million.
Let's say 5 million. That's 70. Mkhitaryan, they've let him go. Right? They've let him go. Saka, Martinelli, they're not going to sell.
No.
Right? Joe Willock is going to be alone. Lacazette is the only one with a question mark on there.
That's what I was about to say. I think Lacazette is the only viable player that you can sell for a bit amount.
But you know what? I like Lacazette.
Basically, Lacazette and Guendouzi, what is he actually worth, Lee? He's got to be worth 30 million, hasn't he?
Guendouzi, 30 million.
Like 30 million, that's 80, and whatever we get for Lacazette.
But do we need to sell Lacazette?
100.
Because Lacazette does something for us
So there,
that
you don't
Aubameyang
buy
doesn't.
2 players for that.
So that's 110 million.
You don't
Yeah?
buy-
110 million. We're now selling 7 players from our squad, and we're only going to replace them with 2.
Yeah. No,
What's
you're
wrong
not.
with
Because
that?
you're gonna, you buy 2. You buy 2 players, right? You've still got Smith Rowe to come back.
Is Smith Rowe good enough to take over the well, anyone's good enough to take over Ozil's man.
No, but it's a good squad player to have. My midfield next season would be Partey, Danny Ceballos and Grealish. That's what I would do there. So the rest of them are surplus requirements. If you have to sell them, and bring in other players. You can bargain around a little bit as well by getting, say, a couple of cheap freebies or whatever, free signings. Fraser as a free signing, William as a free signing.
Yeah,
there are things that you can do.
French defender as well that they're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it, Sarr.
So you've got to be able to bring them back as well, and that's without any transfer money whatsoever. So we can bring in 3 or 4, sell 7 or 8 players, and bring in 4 quality players. That's what we need.
Lee, also the wage bill will go down. Getting rid of all those players.
Of course it will. Great point, Bill. Yeah.
Kolasinac, we didn't add into the mix. Kolasinac, what did they get for Kolasinac?
10, 15.
Off the wages.
Yeah.
They got him for free. Get him off.
Exactly.
Yeah. The situation is that if you go for Grealish and you go for Partey, that's already literally nearly 120 million. Those 2 players combined.
Yeah,
Grealish is about 70, 80 million by himself.
Yeah, but David, the owner needs to come in now. He needs to say,
true.
all right, guys, you've managed to raise this money. Right, here's another, I don't know, 30, 40, 50. We can't be like, oh, whatever you sell, that's your budget.
Well, don't forget, though.
He has to come in now.
Don't forget. It's whatever money Villa would take for him up front, right? Because obviously these deals are not going to be done on upfront fees. Thomas Partey may have to be, because they might have to meet his release clause and pay the whole lot off. But Jack Grealish, if they went in and offered an over-topper man for Jack Grealish like 100 million, like I did to Pepe, who's not worth 72, and then said, right, we'll give you 100 million for the kid, right? But we'll pay you off over 6-7 years. I'll guarantee you, Jack Grealish's value in the next 2 years will be well above 100 million quid.
Yeah, he would be.
Exactly. And that's what you've got to think of. Think out of the box. Exactly right, Sonny.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
The same way.
I'm not saying it could be Jack Grealish anyway. It could be anyone.
Listen, your midfield of Jack Grealish, Thomas Partey, and Danny Ceballos is good enough for me. It's good enough for me, mate.
It's good enough for Arsenal, I think.
We need a Grealish. I agree with Lee because we struggle with low blocks.
Are you confident that the board will go and do it?
Yeah, but the thing is, look at Hazard, Eden Hazard. Arsenal bulked at 32 million quid. They bulked at 32 million quid when he was available, and Arsenal was in the hunt to get him. If Arsenal had an extra couple of million and put that 32 million, 35 on the table, they could have sold him a few years later for 100 million. Whenever you buy quality is always going to go up. When you buy an average, it's never going to go up. You buy an El Neni, it's going to go down.
Yeah, it's definitely true. I think overall, you look at the whole situation. You look at how many players you can sell equals the amount of players you can buy. That's pretty much a self-sustaining model, and that is like Shaheen said. The owner does need to step in, but is he going to go away from that model? Who knows? Who knows? Is he? He has to, I know he has to, but I don't think he's prepared to anyway. In the first place.
Arsenal the team.
But in this case, he needs to get on his bike.
Yeah, Shaheen, Arsenal the team who did not even want to let Koscielny go.
Yeah.
They did not even want to let Koscielny go.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
But
you see, David, my point is this, yeah? There's 6 of us. We sat down in the space of 15 minutes. We drew up a list. Some of the players are modest. We understand that we can get rid of these players with this sort of prices. We can raise the money. The question and the frustrating question is, why can't somebody at board level sit down and do this? They could have done this last summer. They could have done the exact thing last summer.
They're sipping cocktails, mate.
Look, far as I'm concerned, Ralph Snelly's remit 2 years ago when he came in was to get Arsenal in the Champions League. right? Now, after 2 years, for whatever reason, we're not even in the Europa. Ralph Snelly has fouled. And he's fouled big time. That's a
another thing.
That's a sackable offence, in my opinion.
So was the self-sustaining model.
Thing,
that's failed too.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Another thing that everybody has failed to pick up on was, for me, this was a major deal, but it didn't get enough coverage. Is when Sven Mislintat, he left because there was not enough ambitions in the club, and they were not giving him the funds to get the players to come in. He's the one who brought in Guendouzi and probably Martinelli, but when you've got somebody like Sven Mislintat with a proven track record, and then he leaves your club after a year and a bit and says, these guys are not ambitious enough, you've got to ask questions.
You know what? There's a big power struggle at Arsenal boardroom level. There's a big power struggle at Arsenal boardroom level. And I'll tell you something, Ralph Snelly is at the top of that power struggle. That's why he didn't give Sven Mislintat the role that he wanted to. He got Edu in, who's a bloody nodding dog with nice hair. He doesn't do fuck all. Basically, it's Sven, it's Raul, and if he's not this fucking different from a different knock, fucking hell, what's he coming in the fucking tradesman's entrance? Because I ain't seen him at my front door, honestly. Lee, guys, let's finish up with your last thoughts on especially. I'll tell you what, give us your last thoughts going into the cup final, because as far as I'm concerned, we're going to get fucking smashed, right?
What my opinion on it?
Yeah.
All right, I'll say this. All right, people got to remember that the couple of times we played Chelsea this season, we should have won both of those games, right? We should have won, and we lost in the last 10 minutes when we were trying to play Arteta's new style. We run out of steam when they scored twice latter stages.
But that style's got out the window now. Don't expect that style now.
No. But we are capable of beating Chelsea on our day, and we should have beaten them twice. We're due a win. So I'm gonna go positive and say Arteta is about to get his first trophy. You got two new managers, both of them could get their first trophy. Let's hope it's Arteta. I reckon we can pull it off. We're due a win against them.
David from Football Fan Chat, Fan Focus.
I mean, as a neutral, I think Arsenal will win at the end of the day. I do think they have a bit more quality up front that will finish them off in the final third of the pitch. But it's the style that Arsenal plays against Chelsea. What style will they play against Chelsea to ensure that victory? Will they go that low block form that they did against Man City and just break Chelsea on the counter-attack? Or will they come to Chelsea and say, look, we're ready to attack you, and then wait for Chelsea to counter-attack them? I would prefer the first option, to be honest, but you have to look at it overall as a picture. I mean, Arsenal, you never know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to get. I think Lampard has an idea. Arteta may have an idea, but it's the players themselves. You never know what you're going to get with the players. So for me, I think it's going to be roughly around, I think, a 2-1 victory to Arsenal. Obviously, myself and Sonny are covering it, a live watch along, completely live. Obviously, we're going to go to a nice venue with free hosts from Football Fan Focus, free people from Sunny TV Arsenal. We're going to do a massive thing, fan cams, everything, and it's going to be an awesome
Free food and drink
day
as well, isn't it, David?
Yeah,
In the chat group as well, you're all welcome.
yeah, we're gonna around up north where we're going to. It's gonna be a huge Arsenal fan base there. So let's leave it at that, and then we'll do like a little trailer tomorrow.
And if we win, we'll go around the judges afterwards for barbecue. Melvin.
Well, I'm quite looking forward to it on the basis that I think we're going to be the underdog. And normally, when we're the underdog, recently we pull it out. Wenger used to do that as well when we had a very bad run. No one fancied us, and we actually did it. So I think, I don't care if we're not favourites. I think there's a chance we could actually beat them. I really do. And like you said, we need to beat them. We've deserved to beat them this year, and we haven't. So perhaps a bit of a luck on our side this time.
Shaheen.
Well, I have to put my Arsenal hat on and say I hope we'll beat them. We'll need to make up for last year in Baku. there's a lot of Chelsea fans that they're running their mouth because they think there's going to be a repeat of that. So I would love Arsenal to put that right. I agree with Melvin on this one because Arsenal always perform when they're underdogs, and but I hope for the sake of club they win, because if there's no European football next year, it may affect the club, it may affect the transfer plans. People may feel there's no European football. Do I want to go there? That sort of stuff. But I hope that win, because I always want my club to win and to lift silverware. And I think if Arteta wins this, then the board and the owner, they've got to back him all the way.
Yeah, but one more thing, just before obviously we go to others. I wanted to ask all the Arsenal fans, obviously everybody's an Arsenal fan here. A lot of Arsenal fans are saying they would prefer no Europe and a complete rebuild next season, rather than Europe and then having to go through that same struggle again. What do you say about that?
No, I want European football because European football generates more income. There is more. It helps attract better type of players, and I think they should be able to rebuild and have European football. I don't think we're in a stage where we have to choose one of the two.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Lee?
I want European football. I want us to be in the Europa League, because that means we won the FA Cup. That's the only reason. That's what I want us to be in Europe for, because that means we've won the FA Cup. That's the end of it. You know what I mean? So anybody that says they don't want us to get into Europe is not an Arsenal fan, because that means that they don't want us to win the FA Cup. Come on.
Can we win it? Can we win it? And what you and AFTV doing on Cup Final Day?
Yeah, they can win it. I think it depends on one thing. If Arsenal, I'll tell you, if Arsenal defend well, they win the game. Like they did against Manchester City, they won the game. They'll win the game. I'm going to say this: I was very, very impressed with Chelsea against Manchester United. So don't underestimate them in any shape or form. They're going to be a real difficult game. But I think that if we defend properly, I think we can win it. AFTV are at the Box Park at Wembley, so that's where we're going there. So we're at Wembley, so it's very, very nice venue. All sold out apparently, so that's where we're going to go. Where are you boys going then? Where's yours? Or have you got to keep it secret?
We are keeping it secret because, believe it or not, it's all sold out already. Right, it's all sold out already, and we don't want no unsavouries coming.
I'm not invited anymore, Lee. But
we're going to be in a very prestigious part of North London, and we're going to be. It's going to be really good. It's going to be really good. It's going to be a new thing for this channel. It's going to be a new thing for this channel because it's something that we've never done before, and obviously we've got Football Fan Focus with us who technically really good, and we're going to be streaming to both platforms. And it's going to be a fun day out, and I just hope we all go around.
And there's a nice Turkish restaurant right across the road.
Yeah. So after you finish,
now you're giving away where it is.
No, definitely not, because there's so many Turkish restaurants in North London.
After you finish your fan party, you're quite welcome to come join us for a Turkish, mate.
Yeah, well, send me a message. I might pop down for a beer. So, I
will do.
Obviously, private message because it's a secret location.
Will you join us for a half a pint, Lee?
If we win.
Definitely.
I'll tell you something, mate. If we win, it's Cyprus branded on me, right? And if we lose, it's fucking Kronenberg 1664, mate. But what can we do? Listen, I just want to shout out a few things before we go. Firstly, please go and subscribe to Lavanger's Lounge and support Lev on his new channel, because we're all for supporting YouTubers.
Yes, please.
So that's the name. That's the name in the description, Lavanger's Lounge, and we're going to be doing a lot together.
Yeah.
Go and follow my good friend now, Football Fan Focus, David, because his channel is going to be massive next season, and we're going to do a lot of collaborations together.
Yeah.
And we're going to try and raise our standard on Sunday TV Arsenal by learning a bit from David and what he's doing. I want to give a massive shout out to my mate Shaheen, who is back. Family is back together, and as is my family. And I Want My Arsenal Back is a page that you should follow on Twitter, because if it was down to me, they'd be flying another 3 planes over Wembley as well. So big up yourself, Shaheen, for everything you've done. Let that criticism just fall like rainwater off that lovely long hair you got, my friend. I want to thank obviously Melvin for joining us as usual. Just want to thank everyone in the comments for joining us. There's 150 people watching at one stage. Please go and hit the like all these other YouTubers say. I don't know quite like what it does to analytics, but I've been told it does something. So hit the like button or hit the dislike button if you fancy it. And just also subscribe to Sunday TV Arsenal as well. We are the first fan channel and the main fan channel who bring different fans on. I have to say, Lee Judges, right? We try to bring different fans on every week, and that's not a pop at AFTV or you, because I love all of you, right? But like I said, to have Lee Judges on the show tonight is a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to have Lee on, and one of the people I respect most on YouTube. So Lee, really thanks for your time, mate.
No worries, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Guys, before we go, score predictions quickly. David.
2-1 to Arsenal.
Melvin.
2-1 to Arsenal.
Lev.
3.
I'm 3-1 to the Arsenal.
Say, okay.
Lev.
2-1. I think we're going to concede. They gave us Luiz and took Giroud. That's the one worry for me.
You know what?
2-1.
Lee Judge is very rarely wrong, in my opinion. Lee Judge is very rarely wrong, in my opinion, and I fucking hope you're right this time around, Lee.
Well, I better go down the betting shop then, eh?
And Shaheen, what's yours?
My heart tells me 3-1 Arsenal, but probably we'll draw and Arsenal beat them on penalties.
I couldn't do that.
I want to trust penalties. They're gonna bring Caballero on for penalties, mate. You're gonna miss all of them.
Do you know what?
Caballero is a cup keeper for Chelsea. I don't think Kepa will start.
Do you know what? Final words on it. Whether Arsenal win the FA Cup or we don't win the FA Cup, it's been a fucking awful season, right? And the FA Cup don't paper over any cracks for me. And there's a lot of work to be done.
I totally agree.
There's a lot of work to be done. We're going into the new season. The new shirts are out. We've got fuck all money in our pockets to buy them, right? And Arsenal are playing like skinflints. Please, Arsenal. Please, Arsenal. We want our Arsenal back. We want our Arsenal back. We want to be proud of our club. Ralph Snelly, Edu, Stan Kroenke, Josh Kroenke, you told us to be excited. At the moment, we're fucking horrified, right? So give us that fucking Arsenal back or fuck off all of you. But Arteta, we're 100% behind you. Sunday TV Arsenal, we're out of you. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Take care.
See ya.
See ya.
I think he's left it going live. He's left the whole thing.
You know what? Right off the fucking stream, like I left it.
He's left.
Right off the stream, like I left it. I thought to myself at the start, I started the stream at the end. Anyway, we're out of here. Take care.
Yeah.